And if you thought you were getting the 3-star sports card corner next week, oh, you're wrong. Or in another episode. You're getting it in this episode. We figured let's combine everything, especially because we're talking about Ricky Rubio in this podcast, Julian. He's like I kind of alluded this in our talk with Zach. He's interesting. Now, Rubio, his PSA Topps Chrome rookie, and you might say Topps Chrome, what's that? Well, before Panini had the rights to NBA licensed products, Topps did. So like with LeBron, right? Like it's top, and we're going to get into licensing here in a little bit. So Topps Chrome Rubio's PSA 10, it's going for like $55. Now I'll be completely honest. Like I don't know if that's like a good investment, but it's only $55. So if he continues,
if you like Rubio, right?
Yeah, right. Like if he's like your guy, like I don't know. It seems like, especially, I feel like there's a world in like 2 years he ends up on like one of those super teams as like a cheap veteran backup point guard. And then before you know it, it's like, oh, in the finals game, Ricky Rubio had 14 points and like 14 assists. Like,
plus,
I don't know.
Those rookie cards, great hair.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like if you're a Timberwolves fan and you're just like a Rubio fan in general, like you can get like his card for $55, PSA 10, just like that base Topps Chrome. So, and I don't know what the pop count on that is, but I'm guessing that there's probably not very many of them. So I don't know. Something to think about. Julian, now, so we got some big news out of the sports card world. We haven't really done much diving into like the sports card world in general, mostly because it's been pretty quiet, like just baseball stuff and not really much to talk about. But so this all kind of happened all at once, and I'm guessing it was all by design. The first kind of thing that we've heard was that Topps, after 70 years of owning MLB and having like the licensing for MLB, and of course Topps baseball cards, was losing their right to MLB cards. Now, what does that mean? It means Topps can still print MLB cards, but they cannot use any team image, and they cannot use any MLB logo or like anything like that. So basically, like right now, that's what Panini has. Panini has like is making baseball cards, but like they don't have really any value because your favorite team's not on it. It just says like, hey, this is, I don't know, right? This is Byron Bucks and he plays for Minnesota. Like they can't play the Twins. They can't put the logo on there. So 70 years, Topps is out. Who bought it? Fanatics bought it. Now, after that report came out, it was within like hours that we heard that Fanatics has also come to an agreement with the NBA and the NFL, which means Panini is on the outs for both of those. So,
RIP.
So basically, Fanatics will have all three licensing for all three major sports. I'm curious what it means for the WNBA. I wonder if it's under the same licensing agreement as the NBA.
I would think it would be.
Yeah, I would
probably
think
just
so.
have to figure it out with the WNBPA.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm glad you said that. Like the Players Association. So most of the times, these deals are just done between the league and whether it's Topps or Panini. The players are never involved. What makes this so interesting is that Fanatics, basically, I think how these deals got done is that they went to the players associations from each league and they negotiated with them, probably to give them more money because they are the ones on the cards, probably to get them a say in maybe their own like card line. Like maybe like next year, Kevin Durant has like the Kevin Durant card. Like what?
Yep,
and then, like,
totally.
And he's making money off of it. So that's super interesting. Like it's fascinating. So for Panini, it'll be like a 20-year stretch that they've had the NBA. I'm not sure how long they've been with the NFL. I think probably around the same time. So it's super interesting. And you might say, well, is this bad or good for the card world? I would say it's really good because you're getting the players involved, and that means there's going to be more money involved, and they're going to be more interested in. It's similar to Top Shot. Once we saw like Tyrese Halliburton get interested in Top Shot and all these things, once we see players also like showing off their cards or their collection,
that's good.
That's a good thing. And you might say, well, okay, that stinks that Topps is losing the licensing and Panini. Well, yes, it does stink. I mean, it's not super uncommon. Like, for example, like Tops and Upper Deck used to have football licenses, and that's when like I used to collect. And it was like Panini also did, and then it went exclusively Panini. And like Panini just puts out a bunch of products that are similar. So I think overall good news. I think there's really nothing to dive too deep into. I don't think these deals become official until like 2026. But another thing to keep an eye on is, and I don't necessarily know if this will happen because, for example, Topps still has, I think Topps and Panini both have like licenses for soccer and UFC and maybe like golf or a few other sports. People have asked whether or not Fanatics will just end up buying out these.
Right, like the question, like will they buy the brand? Like will they buy the products? Like will Panini sell Optic or Prism to Fanatics? That was kind of the question that I had too. Like, or is it just going to be a whole new kind of brand / line of cards?
Well, I think that's an interesting question. I would say, first off, part of me says no, because both of these brands have like other brands under their umbrella, but like obviously the big ones are the NFL and the NBA, and the MLB. So yeah, I mean, I wonder
maybe Panini just like makes the calculation and it's like, we can make more money right now selling the Optic brand to Fanatics than we'll be able to make on soccer and whatever. Like, but at the same time, like, what if they get the licensing back?
Or you just sell your entire company to Fanatics at like at a discounted deal, because you know that in 6 years, like you selling non-licensed NBA cards and like UFC cards is not going to like pay the bills.
Right. But at the same time, if you're Fanatics, why do you buy Panini? Like I think if you're Fanatics, you kind of can make a bet and say, we have the licensed cards. We can make entirely new products and there's going to be a market for them. Like they don't need that brand recognition because they're going to have the licensing.
I totally agree. It like for you, like the user friendliness and like a collector friendliness, I would love if that would happen. And then it would just be a seamless transition of, yep, all my cards are still being printed the same way they were. But I think the way Fanatics probably sees it is like, well, that's great, but we also don't need to buy these companies because it really doesn't matter. Like if Panini's valued at $3 million and Topps is valued at $2 million, and you're Fanatics and you're valued at 18, it's like, why spend $5 million when no matter what, you're going to have all the chips in 2026, even if you have a shit product then. Like,
hey, you're already taking their business.
Yeah, you already even if you have the worst product, it's still going to be the most valuable product and that people will be going after. So
yeah, it'll be really interesting because you also wonder, like, is Fanatics making this move now and talking to players associations and all of this because they see an opportunity to kind of reimagine the card market, and if that's the case, then you don't really need these legacy brands. And there's a part of me that hopes it doesn't get reimagined too much, but at the same time, like, new ideas can be good. So it'll be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be interesting. I think less of the idea to like, reimagine the card community is honestly, I think they saw an opportunity with the Players Association to get a deal done like through the back door of like, hey, like you guys can benefit from this more than you are. And we have all these ideas, and like certainly like they'll bring new things to the table, I'm sure. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be like sports cards. And, I mean, I think one thing to think about is like, what is Fanatics' relationship with like retail stores like Target and, even like breakers, like, right. Like if Fanatics can like sell all of their stuff at their like whole price, like why do they need a middle person? Like, is there a way for them to like get the breaker market out of there? Like, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Because they have all that infrastructure already because they sell so much merch.
Exactly. And like you think about it, right? Like I listened to this in a podcast earlier this week, and the focus was basically on, not all sports fans are card collectors, like actually very few of them. But like once you go into a Fanatics store or you're on a Fanatics website and there's a sports card box, like a hobby box on the site, And if you buy $100 worth of gear, you get 20% off a hobby box or whatever. Like, that is super interesting to me. Like, hey,
yeah,
buy this jersey. Here's $100 off your box. That's
yeah.
$1,200. Like,
That's
it's
interesting because I
interesting.
wonder then what that would do to values of cards out there now. If you see like, because if the market expands, you would think that they would also sell more cards, which is also kind of a delicate balance because you need to maintain some exclusivity because that's part of the fun of collecting. But if those pop counts all go up, I mean, I don't know. And it's also like, I wonder what the relationship will be like with PSA. Like, do they see a value in kind of helping PSA scale up or buying
Or
PSA?
or do they like create their own grading company?
Right.
Right. Like, and then it's just like a one-stop
It's all
shop.
in house. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Super interesting. And that's where, like, I'm sure like PSA's on alert too, where they're like, oh shit, like
Yeah, I
we gotta
mean,
we gotta get people back so we can start pumping. I mean, granted, it's 5 years that they're taking over, but it's still like you have to like maneuver your way into a system, because if all of a sudden Fanatics can be like, hey, it's $15 per to grade a card, that might be the thing, especially with younger collectors, where it can just all happen in one stop. Like, you
because
can literally
the Panini and Tops, they were sleeping behind the wheel. So I'm sure that like that PSA does not want that to happen. But can you imagine something where you buy a box, you open it like digitally,
Mhm.
you know, it's still like you buy a physical box, but like you have them open it there. You decide which cards you want to get graded. They're graded in-house. Then all the cards from the box
Yeah.
that get sent to you with some of them already graded. You
Yeah.
know, like
Or like you go into a Fanatic store and they have like a
mhm.
grading stop there where you can just
Right.
you can just like literally drop your cards off. Like,
Yep.
hey, like here we got a bunch of jerseys and blah blah blah. Oh, also there's like our card section, and we have like a grading stop where you literally just fill out a form, or it's probably electronic, and then
Mhm.
we send it in for you to get graded, or it gets graded right at the store, and then you can pick it up 2 days later for $20.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That would
It's
actually be pretty cool. You know, like in terms of just like the experience for like people like you and me, that would be sweet. But at the
I
same
would
time, we are, until we die, patrons of 3-star sports cards.
We are. We are.
So
And well, and also I'm curious to ask Eric that too, about like
yeah,
what that
we should
means
have
for
them
him.
on.
Yeah. Like, what does that mean for and I'm sure it means nothing. I'm sure it's honestly just like, yep, we're going to continue to buy.
Well, they have so
But
much going on there.
yeah, but like I do actually, I mean, that's a good question though, because like all of a sudden does this Fanatics start putting up shops everywhere?
Mhm.
I mean,
I
I don't
don't
know.
think so. I mean,
I
I think that like going and investing in physical locations is probably not what
I agree.
Fanatics is thinking, given like their how robust their like online retail infrastructure
And
is.
why? Like, these places are
Right.
literally already in place to print you money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like,
The
3
the
Stars is
infrastructure is
up
already
right
there.
now just making money for Panini,
Right.
and obviously they're doing well themselves. But all right, Julian, that's all we got for this part. So one episode this week, which is a little longer. We'll hit you guys with two next week. I think we're gonna have somebody on next week. Let me check my messages. Somebody from the Pistons might join us
Cool.
next week. Obviously, the Wolves and Pistons didn't really make any moves this year, but they had the number one pick. And actually, Pistons coach is Dwayne Casey, old Wolves coach. So I think he's still there. So we'll chat about that. But Julian, otherwise, we're recording this on a Thursday. You'll get this in your inbox or your feed on Friday. You have a good weekend.
You too, man.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.